Hey everybody! Our presentation today is on the Florida grasshopper sparrow, the elusive subspecies of grasshopper sparrow you see happily bouncing around here. To begin, I'm just going to give some background information. The Florida grasshopper sparrow is endemic to Florida and it inhabits the dry prairies in Central and South Florida, with 3 metapopulations in Avon Park, Kissimmee Prairie, and the Three Lakes Wildlife Management Area. They are an endangered species, first being listed in 1977 by the state of Florida and following up in 1986 by the FWS, and this is because of the decline in their suitable habitat with those dry prairies, mostly just due to this fire suppression and conversion to pastures. And some other information about their breeding: they nest in spring and they are ground nesters, and female grasshopper sparrows typically have 1 mate per breeding season.
The sparrow is behaviorally diverse between sexes, age classes, and breeding and non-breeding individuals, making it difficult to estimate populations across demographic groups. Due to the low population numbers and its status as an endangered species, having a robust estimate of the population size is critical to the conservation and management of the sparrow. Extensive effort is put into estimating its populations every year, but many of these techniques make critical assumptions. We are looking to find a technique that gives the best possible representative population estimate of sparrows while meeting the following criteria. We would like our technique to effectively estimate population numbers across the behaviorally diverse demographic groups. The technique used should minimize the amount of field labor involved and the stress on the sparrow during the study. One method used to estimate sparrow populations is point count playback surveys, which are done by selecting sampling points, playing territorial male calls, listening for male responses, counting the number of males that respond and are sighted in the area, and multiplying that count by 2 to account for the females in the population. This method requires minimal labor and places minimal stress on the sparrows. It provides a good estimate of males in the population, but many researchers question the assumed 1-to-1 ratio of males to females. This method is ineffective at estimating the number of juveniles and females in a population and may provide a biased estimate of males by accidental recounts.
Constant effort misnetting is when we set up a series of mist nets over multiple breeding seasons, and we can measure the change in abundance of sparrows by relating the amount we caught to a population estimate. Typically, once a bird is caught in a mistlet, like these little birdies here, they're captured and banded, and then we can see how many birds are recaptured given the constant effort. This gives us a robust measure of population size, especially for breeding males who are territorial and can be attracted by using acoustic lures, and for non-breeding floaters who are typically caught once and not recaptured, just because they're traveling great distances so they can establish their own territory. Breeding males typically are recaught 2 to 3 times more than non-breeders for this reason. This method is also relatively inexpensive, as a team of 2 can set up and monitor around 10 mist nets. However, this method is not good at targeting breeding females, as they are normally by their nests. We must also consider that there must be a balance between the amount of nets we set up and the personnel available, because we want to ensure the birds are released in a timely manner to minimize stress, especially since these sparrows are highly endangered. Nest searching is an intensive survey of bird nests or breeding pairs to determine nest success in respect to the surrounding environment. Typically, you can locate nests by identifying females carrying around nesting material, like this grasshopper sparrow holding a twig, and then following them back to their nest. This method is good because it identifies those hard-to-get breeding females, while also giving us valuable site-specific information about nest success that can be used to supplement other demographic data. But finding nests is not easy. It is highly labor-intensive, and a successful day is simply finding one nest. There are also a lot of caveats to a nest search method, including a short time frame where we want to identify nests early in the breeding season. This is also an endangered species, so it might be difficult not only to find these rare nests, but to ensure we don't negatively disturb them enough for the sparrow to abandon the nest.
Acoustic surveys can be used to estimate sparrow populations by using remote recording devices to detect singing male sparrows within study plots. Remote recorders are set up for the entire breeding season, capturing all ambient noises in the area. Sound analysis software is used to isolate the call of the male sparrows. This method requires minimal time in the field, as recorders can be left up all season and recording devices are fairly inexpensive. This method provides a good representation of calling males present in the area, but misses males that are not calling as well as females. This method provides many hours of recording to analyze, which can be time-consuming. We decided an effective solution to the population estimate problem is to conduct an acoustic survey and compare recordings at the beginning and end of breeding cycles, noting changes in the male calls. Sparrows are monogamous through the breeding season, and males change their call after mating with a female. The typical male call is a territorial buzzing sound, which gives them their name. But after nest building, the males produce more of a trill-like call. Going back to the criteria established before, this method provides counts of males, females, and even potential offspring numbers. The labor involved is minimal, as much of the work involves analyzing the recordings, and the stress placed on the sparrows is also quite minimal. Thank you for viewing our presentation. Please feel free to leave any comments, suggestions, and questions. We would love any feedback from you. Thank you.